former Royal Marine. I served in the Royal Marines for just under 10 years, straight out of school. Deployed to Iraq in 2003 when I was 19 on something called Operation Telic 1, which went well from my perspective. I came back unscathed and carried on my career. And then a couple of years later, in 2007, when we were really in the thick of it in Afghanistan, I got the call up to go out and do a 6-month tour on something called Operation Herrick 7. Halfway through that tour, on Christmas Eve that year, I was out on a routine foot patrol, and on the way back into our camp, we were given cover for another section. And as I went to get into a fire position, I knelt on and detonated an improvised explosive device, which eventually resulted in me losing both my legs above the knee and my right arm above the elbow. My care was personalised as much as it could be. It was very difficult. I was actually the UK's first triple amputee from the Afghanistan conflict, and I think actually since the end of maybe the First World War. So although they had had single leg amputees through before, and in rare cases double above knee amputees through the care pathway before, I was the first triple. So it was very difficult to do anything for me, let alone personalise the care programme, because no one had ever dealt with these kind of injuries before. So it was a bit of, test and adjust and hit these brick walls, find out ways over it, and then push on through. So we personalised it as much as we could, I think, but there were certain areas where I think it could have been made a little bit better, which eventually some of those things happened, some didn't. But the things that did, when we did niche it down to what do I need, not what does a triple amputee need according to the textbook, things improved drastically for me. With any amputee, you could put 10 triple amputees, single amputees, double amputees, whatever it is, into a room, same as with a wheelchair user or anyone with a disability, and none of them will have the same needs, and none of their injuries will be exactly the same. Every single person has to have their situation personalised individually. So for me, in the beginning, I didn't know anything about anything. I just knew prosthetic legs were available, a prosthetic arm was available, this is what we have for you, let's go figure it out. And I ran with it initially, and I did the best that I could. And like I said, because no one had ever been down this road before with a triple amputee, we did the best we could with the situation and the tools that we were given. As I started to meet more triple amputees and more amputees over the months and the years through either face-to-face interaction or online via social media or whatever it may be, I started to ask questions and be told things. For example, I thought that when you got a prosthetic leg, you got a foot and that was it. It was all the same and all worked the same, and you just dealt with it. Then I found out there were different feet available, and a certain foot might be better for a single leg amputee, a certain foot might be better for a double leg amputee. So there were things I wanted to try which could have potentially and eventually did improve my life, which were quite hard to access in the beginning. And I don't think that's anybody's fault. I don't know what it was. It was a little bit frustrating. I had a triple amputee who was a mentor to me over in America. I found a guy in America who was helping me through his experiences and telling me what worked for him and what didn't. And one day I found out that he used different feet to what I used, and he told me, he tried everything, and there were like 4 or 5 different pairs of feet that were available for someone with my situation. So he told me how they helped him. I won't get too technical, but like the resistance and the spring in the heel was different in certain feet, which gave him more of an energy return, which made his walking easier, which meant it took him less energy to get from A to B. So I thought, okay, perfect. I was walking around all day, sweating, just tired all the time because of how much energy it took. So that foot, to me, seemed like an advantage. It gave me energy return, it made it easier. So I wanted to try it and, personalise my care. But I couldn't. I was kind of told, this is what we've got, this is what you've got to use, figure it out. Not in a, it sounds very, negative and nasty, just a kind of, I don't think anybody knew any better, that was the thing. It was all new to everybody. So that was difficult, and eventually when I got to use the feet, I borrowed a set, it was like I was told. You know, it did help me out, and that's the feat that I use now. You know, and in the future, you know, when they're always creating and developing these new things, there may be another better foot, and it'd be great to know that I can have the opportunity to use that and make the decision for myself whether that's better for me or not. I think the key thing, if you want to personalise veterans care, is to include the veteran in the whole process from the beginning. I don't know, you know, if you hold focus groups or that kind of stuff, but get the feedback from the veterans. And also, as well as that, all the veterans organisations that are available, because there could be someone out there who needs help with a specific issue but has no idea what will work for them because they don't know what's available. So when you go to these charities like Blesma and the British Legion, all these guys who run skiing holidays or equine therapy or music therapy or anything like that, there could be somebody looking for that but doesn't know that it exists, or maybe just wants to try it but has never had the opportunity because they don't know where to go and who to speak to. So, you know, getting the veterans involved is key, you know, asking us what we need and then linking them in with the organisations that can provide it or give them a better idea of what it is that's available so they can test certain things and see what works for them. If I wasn't fortunate enough to have the opportunity to personalise my care, and I think about this a lot, I wouldn't be who I am now and I wouldn't be able to do the things I do now. So I have a full-time job, you know, 40 hours a week, sometimes more, working full-time, which I'm very grateful for and fortunate to have. I have 3 children. I do school runs. I still work out and train. I keep fit and healthy. I have multiple projects on the go, personal stuff, you know, that I enjoy doing. I've got hobbies and all that kind of stuff, because this is as easy as it possibly can be for me now, because we've been through the process of tweaking, personalising and giving me the components and everything that I need to make my life easier. You know, I haven't used a wheelchair now since the 9th of June 2009. That wouldn't be possible if I had to do everything by the book and I was told what I need to use and what works for me. Because I remember how difficult it was, how painful it was, how angry I was, you know, because everything was 10 times harder than it is now and than it needed to be. So personalising my care for me basically gave me my life back. I know it sounds a bit far-fetched, but it did. And that's why I can go out now and live independently, travel the world on my own. I drive cars without adaptions in. You know, I do all these things that I did before I was injured because I've got this setup that works for me as an individual.